Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stand for a moment of silence for our police officer, William Prosher, who died the other day. He would have been 50 in June. He had 2 massive strokes. Please remain standing for a resident, Ed Shupner, who also just passed away. Thank you. I'll start off with, like I do, businesses in this village are allowed to advertise, and I advertise for them. So they're allowed to tell me what specials they have. That's the way I think government should work. So we'll start out with Giant Cafe. They'll have, on Mother's Day, they'll have fresh oven roasted turkey on a special Saturday, and Sunday they will be open for Mother's Day brunch featuring sourdough, avocado toast, seasoned with lemon, arugula, cherry tomatoes, egg whites, and cake. Ward's Bridge, they're open for Mother's Day dinner this Sunday, serving from 12 to 5. So get your reservations in early. Okay? I don't know if any other village does advertisements for his business, but that's what we do. Moving right along here. I attended the DARE graduation in Berea on April 25th. That was great. Those are things I don't miss. I will not miss this. DARE graduations are very, very important and dear to my heart. Summer camp sign up, 6:20 a.m. on the day of the sign up. 20 people were online. I went down there to see how it was going. I spoke to parents who mentioned they pay about $1,600 because I spoke to one family. They spend about $1,600 for 2 weeks for 2 kids for 6 weeks. So they said that's about $9 an hour for both kids, for babysitting and for activities. Says you can't beat the price, and it's worth waiting online in the rain. We got a Comp Alliance rebate check for $6,185 for having a safe workplace award. It was just sent to me, and I'm very proud that we have that. Our building inspector, Bruce Yankiewicz, this guy's amazing. He has his leg cut off on an operation. His leg is cut off. He's permanently, so he's disabled. He's waiting for a prosthetic leg to be put on, should be on with a week or 2. He can't, from the knee up, I'm sorry. Either way, it's a serious operation. He can't wait to get back to work. He cannot wait to get back to work. Anybody else that stay home and collect disability or something, not him. This guy is great. I went to the fireman's dinner the other day with Deputy Mayor Darlene and Dulcet. It was an honor to be surrounded by first responder heroes. Those are my people. Squatters. I ran for this office on keeping this village safe. I got us non-sanctuary, and you cannot voluntarily be homeless. I tried to get the squatters law changed from 30 days to 90 days. Now, you may wonder what the squatters law is. That means if they break into your house when on vacation, bad people, and they stay there 31 days, the police can't remove them. They cannot remove them. I tried, I fought it. Governor won. It's back to 30 days. We can't get 90 days. Now, the reason I bring this up is if you read this month's Reader's Digest, go to page 100. You'll read the horror stories from people and squatters. The village of Montgomery had a young autistic boy that got out of the house at 5:30 a.m. They, along with the sheriff's department, had this kid within 15 to 20 minutes. This is cooperation. This is how police departments work. You don't exchange your business cards at the scene. You already know each other. When you respond, you already know it's a neighboring agency. I'm very proud of the way these guys work. It's fantastic, the job they do. Another thing I found out, handyman services. You see all those signs all over the place? Hire the handyman, hire this, hire that. They may be good, they may not be. But be advised that when you hire a handyman, he's covered, but anybody he has to have workman's comp insurance, or they're not working in this village. They must have it. We hired a new village historian. I hired him with Brian Fitzpatrick's approval. He has started. He is incredibly into history, and Brian gave him his blessing. He was a police officer in the 44th precinct where Brian's father was. I think that opened the door right there. And he now is a town of Newburgh police officer. The Caboose this Saturday was brought in.
What's the historian's name?
Craig Furry, F-U-R-Y, Furry, F-U-E-R-Y, Furry. The Caboose was brought in this Saturday. It's been in the making for about 9 months. It was transported from from Port Jervis to the village of Montgomery by the Middletown, New Jersey Railroad at no charge to us. Hillcrest Farms owner Tommy Owens rented a lowboy trailer for, I can only imagine, probably $500 to $1,000. He refuses to tell me the price. Donation. Freedom Crane from Kingston. You probably see this crane company when you're heading south on the thruway. Well, it's now Freedom Crane, and I'm wearing a shirt tonight. Cost $12,000 to take this Caboose from its location at the old lumberyard and bring it down here. But it was a Saturday, so it's $20,000 it cost to remove this thing. You get it for nothing. My wife purchased a Caboose for $1. We had several volunteers that day helping out with this project. Tracy Casey was there doing fundraisers. Perfect Temperature donated an air conditioner and a heat pump with installation. We had raised transportation. He delivered all the rails, the ties from the Windsor. No charge to the village. We had volunteers: Jake Henry, Sean Mears, Skip Chambers, Sid Vanderlee, Ray Stackhouse from Ray's Transportation, Bernie Hillman, Josh Henry, Jeremy, our foreman, the Iron Cafe, Blaine Penzold, Sean Murphy. All of these guys helped us out. All of them. I did commit a real infraction here, and I apologize to you. I had to use DPW. I said it wasn't going to cost anything. Well, unfortunately, the track was put 4 feet in the wrong spot. The crane could not set up there because there's a rule. You have to be X amount of feet away from the electric power lines. So DPW went down there and moved the track. This Caboose, we have so many people that are donating for this. It will be used to make money for this village, be rented for children's parties. It'll just be a nice thing. It'll have menus in there, all about the village. Brian Fitzpatrick, Mark Devitt, they're going to help me out with this, and a load of other people. I also, to any businesses that are helping us out, or any businesses that want to advertise, I'll wear your shirt here. I'll wear your shirt to our meeting. Last time we had a meeting, I had the food pantry shirt. I have no problem advertising our local businesses. I don't need a committee. I don't need to sit down. I don't need to figure out what to do here. I'll wear your shirt and I'll announce you at the meetings. That's what it's all about. And something I'm really sad to read here. Our village staff gets its horns broken. Really bad. Really bad. In the last couple of meetings, they were beat down. They were questioned why you have 2 people in the office when you can get away with a 1.5. And after it kept up and up and up, I said, you know what? If I was a village employee, I'd be looking to get out of here. Well, unfortunately, people, I'm about to read you a letter. Dear Mike, I am writing to formally announce my resignation from the position as village clerk effective May 30th, 2025. The decision was not made lightly, as I have enjoyed working for the village of Montgomery. I'm grateful for the opportunities to grow both professionally and personally during my time here. However, after careful consideration means after getting her ass kicked in front of everybody here, I have decided to pursue a new path that I believe will be better aligned with my long-term goals. In other words, not wondering if she's going to get fired. I will do my best to ensure a smooth transition during my remaining time at Village Hall and provide necessary support to make this change as seamless as possible. Please let me know if I can be of any help in this process. I'm thankful for the support, the guidance, the opportunities provided to me during this tenure with the Village of Montgomery. I've enjoyed working with such a dedicated team and will cherish the experience and the memories I have made here. Thank you once again for the opportunity. It's truly a great place to live and raise a family. I want to clap for Tina. And folks, don't be surprised if others leave. Thank you for all you've done for this village, and we'll take a moment here. Good team. All right, moving on to the first business, discuss the sewer plan. I'm sorry. Make a motion to accept abstract number 4A2025. Make a motion.
What's the amount?
I'm sorry.
The amount of the abstract?
What is the amount? Read about this one.
Total?
Yeah.
$132,089.65.
Thank you.
Make a motion?
I'll make it.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, discuss the sewer treatment plant. This is me. I'm not holding no punches here. A stupid idea. A stupid idea. No benefit to the residents of this village whatsoever. Why would anybody consider this? Rumors are floating that we are receiving fines for violations at our plant. I've heard this from several people. No, we are not. I questioned our present DPW superintendent as well as our past, and our treasurer who would pay the fines. No, there are no fines down there. There's no boogeyman under the bed. It's working just fine. It needs a facelift. It needs an upgrade. It's false information. Also floating around is the cement has an expiration date. It's going to go. Well, God, you better watch out, Hoover Dam. We do need an upgrade, and we'll have to float a bond. We'll deal with our own crap. We don't need others. Second thing, discuss the mayor's car. I'm going to kind of leave this alone because I've had so many people say
I'm sorry,
I should use
discuss
it.
infers that we're going to discuss it. So if you've said your piece, then that leaves it open for us to discuss it also.
Go for the sewer treatment plant. Go right ahead.
So, when we're talking about a sewage treatment plant, we're not talking about building a brand new one. It's a process that takes about a decade, from the beginning of design through the stages of engineering and then into construction. So, our plant's 42 years old. The guideline they use nationally and in our area is a 50-year window for when you look at the plant has reached its life expectancy. So if we're looking at the next decade having to build a new plant, we have to start now, and that's what this review is about. So they have what's called, engineering planning grants. So in the last 2 years, there's been 130, this is just in New York, 130 grants given for studies. The cheapest one is $17,500, going up to $100,000. 130 of them. Nothing is even in the ballpark of $7,500. It's a huge savings. Looking at the assessment has nothing to do with building. What they're going to do is analyze the condition that's in, because we don't know. So they will look at the condition that our plant is in. I mean, let's put this in perspective. When this plant was built, modern technology was an 8-track cassette. If that would put it in perspective on what we're talking about, the same footprint that we would have right now, if we did build exactly the same size with modern technology, we would process almost twice as much. And their drinking water would be purer because you're going to have the filters involved and the membrane plans involved as well. The companies that I've talked to, and I've talked to 10, and your FOIL's been answered, by the way. And so there's 10 different companies that one of them is ranked in the top 10 in the world. And these people that I'm talking to, I know personally. The top 10 in the world is my brother's company. He builds bridges in California, and he hooked me up with his department to analyze exactly what we should be looking at and what we should be looking into. So when they start assessing it, that's all this is an assessment. They will run how it's done with us, how by ourselves, what it would cost by ourselves, how it's done with the town, and how the town is done by themselves. We will look at all of them because you're not going to bond out a $12 million project. You're going to have to come up with grants. So all these grants involved have time limits to them as far as how long they take to get and when their cycles run. So we're going to be applying for cycles of these things. Maybrook just finished their rebuild. They got $333,000 towards theirs. Now, I keep on hearing that we're built out and we're maxed out. We've already committed to Vistamore. We've already committed to the airport projects. Those are things we can't go back on. So when I chatted with all the guys in the town and I went to all the developers, how many realistic houses would there be? Because remember, these are 50-year increments. How many houses could be built in the village of Montgomery in the next 50 years? And they all said somewhere around 400 to 700. If everything was built out all the way. Well, that's about another half of what we're talking about. And the number that's been floated is we're at 500,000, increasing our float is 750,000. That's the village. Okay? That's not counting anything else. It's not counting Sheffield. It's not counting any of those. I'm not saying let's pump all the poop from the rest of the county here. But what we are going to do is get an educated estimate. And the reason ours is so cheap is because the company that we're using has done work on both plants. So they already have gathered a ton of the information and compiled it so they don't have to spend the expense of getting it again. That's why we were able to get it so cheap.
Well, apparently you're paying for it. Didn't you both think you were going to pay for it?
If you're going to come down to where you're not
That's
going
what you
to,
said. You said that. So if you're going to vote for it, I'll tell you this much. If a contract comes in front of me, I'm not signing it. Because 10 years from now, when that smell is up here, I don't want them looking back and saying, "What? Don't sign that contract."
Numbers is 145 million gallons. That is 1/2 of 1% of the size of our increased plant. That's not even close in comparison when you're talking about the smell of Yonkers. And the new membranes are going to be better with the smell.
So it will be a less of a smell? I'll be able to deal with it. Oh, that's
could be.
okay. Maybe we can get a bunch of corporate trucks and put them down and make
Well, it's
stink.
not like you're moving.
Tell all these cheap people over there that they want this.
That's not the way the science of the wind works, because prevailing winds don't blow this way, first of all.
Oh, I feel much better now. Thank you. Thank you. I feel much better.
And the thing is, we can't bury our head in the sand and say, gee, I hope it's going to go.
Isn't it a fact that the company that's doing this study is the town's #1 contractor?
No, actually, it's one of the ones that we picked.
That's not what I found out. And I've interviewed other people. Okay?
So the alternative, when we discussed this the other day, was then let's put it out to RFP and we can do our own study if you didn't want to. But we voted on it, and the board, as a majority, voted to do the study. It's not a commitment, it's a study.
That's correct. We voted against it, 3 years voted for it, and you voted to pay for it.
Okay.
So I'm okay with that. I still, as a resident
Sell the
here,
car because.
I still, as a resident here, it's a stupid idea, and I'm not putting my name on any contract because crap is crap and it's gonna stay. Period.
So part of moving forward in the village is having uncomfortable conversations. I think we're probably gonna have about 5 of them tonight looking at the agenda. And that stinks, and it's uncomfortable for everyone. It's uncomfortable for you, it's uncomfortable for us, but that's why we ran for office. That's why you elected
Nobody's
us
saying
to sit
anything
up
about
here
you. I'm
and
just
to
saying the
make
sewer
decisions
plant.
on your behalf with your input and in a cooperative way. So we're going to have to talk through it, and a humongous investment like the treatment plant and like the water is going to be after that, it's gonna require a lot of discussion, and we're going to have to be cooperative about it. We're going to have to be respectful, but we have to deal in facts. Comparing a 1 million gallon plant to a 150 million gallon plant, it's not accurate. Saying it's gonna smell when you're standing in a place where the wind's not blowing, not accurate. Also, saying that nobody supports it, not accurate. The attorney that's handling this for us, the planning board attorney, supports the joint feasibility study, as does our village engineer, because more than half of that information will benefit us, and we need that knowledge in order to make an educated decision. And I think there's going to be a lot of information and a lot of work sessions and a lot of back and forth about this, but we have to at least start it out on the right foot.
I think
We
we
need
have to
to know what
start
we
out
need to
as
do.
talking to our residents. We're elected to make educated decisions, and it shouldn't even come this far. We should deal with our own stuff here.
There wasn't an engineer or anybody involved in the decision that thought this was a bad idea. You're the only one that thought it was a bad idea up here. They all thought it was very smart to get the information and know where we are.
We also can approach our county IDA, as other municipalities do, to be a funding partner. We also have the WIA grant, the WQIP grant coming up, the DDC has a grant coming up, and the CDBG grant, which we should put a letter of support and interest in this month, because I think the cutoff is late June, is for water and sewer specifically, and it's a 50 cents on the dollar grant, up to $5 million for a single municipality, up to $10 million for an intermunicipal.
And I am 100% for that. Put it somewhere else. Don't put it in this village. If you're riding on Highway 81 in Pennsylvania, you'll see 2 massive sewage plants off 81. They're about 25 miles south of Scranton. They're in the middle of nowhere. This down here is gonna smell everything around.
So would you like to move it, even if we go, if we
No, I
do
wanna
our
keep
own?
what we got here and deal with it. If we have to make it bigger, we make it bigger.
Okay.
But we don't bring other places stuff here.
Okay, and if
When
that's
we
not
have
what's
a
advised,
place,
we
can't
won't
even
do
take
that.
what we've
Okay.
committed to.
Well, I'm just saying that. All right, move
I'm
on
saying the
to-
one we have in place can't even take care of what we've committed to.
We're looking to bring the
We're maxed at this point, right? But we still have this more, the airport, and 3 other projects that we've already approved.
All that was taken into consideration, we can handle it. Since we're going 20 years ago. Mr. Moore came to us 20 years ago, and we were able to take it.
So there you have it.
Devin's project, all that's been approved, knowing
And-
where we're at.
Do
And
you
yes,
think
we
the
can.
assessment to find out is a bad idea?
What's that?
Do you think having the assessment's a bad idea?
I don't think you
That's
should
not-
put it in that spot. I don't think you should put it
You
in
are.
that spot. That should be us.
You're
Well,
saying.
everything that's approved was the plant can handle. Mr. Moore, Devin, county, the airport, all that was taken into consideration.
In 2016, I had to read through previous minutes for other purposes. In 2016, we're on record talking about the Holt well, and the mayor at the time is agreeing with the former superintendent, we need a plan. And we're still working on that, all these years later. I don't want to.
You lost me that round of applause,
So
sorry.
in 2016, when I happened to be reading through the minutes for something else for this meeting, I was going back through, and it caught my eye that we were talking about the Holt well in 2016. And the mayor at the time, talking to the supervisor, or the superintendent at the time, about, listen, okay, great, we have this initial study and that initial study. We really need to make a plan going forward about water. And that is almost 10 years ago now. And I don't want to be in the same place about sewer. I don't want to make any rash decisions, but I think it's time to collect the information and see where we should go after that. And the average New York State village wastewater treatment plant is 0.5 to 1.5 million gallons per day. That's a fact.
I don't want to cure. Okay, move on. The mayor's car, I'm not gonna touch on this too much, because I had so many people come up and say, you need a car. 73 cents a mile, I can put into mileage here. I use my car for a lot of things. They say, well, the mayor here before didn't have a car. He's got one in the town. He's using one in the town. So I don't put into mileage of my own personal car, but I use that car a lot. All right, discussion on nepotism. I had to appear.
Discussion.
Go ahead.
Guys, that we discussed it. So what do I do when we go to training so when I put in for mileage and reimbursement for tolls and everything else and I use my own personal car, why does my insurance cover my car for that? Why is that okay? And
Rent
that's
a
an
car.
honest question.
Rent a car.
So I should rent a car, will the
It's
village
up to you.
reimburse me for
It's up
that?
to you.
For the rental?
That's your own personal choice. Your own personal choice.
So it's a choice.
Well, the reimbursement would be at the IRS rate when you use your car.
Right.
The
But the
IRS
argument
rate-
is that the insurance wouldn't cover him to use the car, but it's okay for me to use my car to go to training and get reimbursement because it's for this position and I'm using that training and I'm using my personal vehicle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I must have missed part of the question. If you use your own vehicle, and it's gonna be, as it is now, and will be in the updated handbook, whatever the current IRS rate is, 73 cents a mile, whatever it is, that IRS rate builds in the costs to operate the car with the gas and insurance and stuff. So I'm not following the question.
Because the mayor says his insurance won't cover him to use his personal vehicle for use for village business. But whenever we go to training, or whenever we do anything, we're using our personal cars for village business. And we ask for reimbursement, and then it's over. And to my knowledge, no one's been removed from their insurance for that.
The question is, which coverage kicks in? If you're using the car for business, generally, your insurance will kick in. Again, when you're using the car, your insurance coverage, people use their cars for work, and they get covered. So, at the moment, there are certain village officials who have cars. The police chief has a car, the mayor has a car, the DPW has a vehicle to take home. So,
I'm the mayor, I'm the head of everything.
Right, but you're not a first responder.
I'm a first responder.
but I'm still, I apologize, I'm still not following. If you're getting the IRS mileage rate,
That's how it's always been handled, is what I'm saying. And
That's
I
how it's
think
handled
that's true,
everywhere.
but How
Right.
it's always been handled is you put in for the reimbursement if you're going somewhere and it's fine, and no one's been canceled from their insurance for using their personal vehicle to go to training for this position. And the mayor contends that he cannot use his vehicle to come to Village Hall and do village business because his insurance will not allow it. I do not believe that statement to be true.
I am considered retired and get a lower rate.
well, whatever the rate is.
My choice.
Then say it's your choice, don't say it's because your insurance
It is
won't
because
allow
of my
it.
insurance, I just said that. Move on. All right, I recently had to appear at the ethics board. Okay, I can't testify on what I had to say or what went on in the ethics board. But here's the complaint, several complaints, but one of them is nepotism. Nepotism, okay? Let me tell you about nepotism here in my family. I can handle jabs thrown at me, but when you attack my family, we have a problem here. Then I become a dad. Let me tell you about my nepotist family. My oldest daughter, Jennifer, she started summer camp at 5 years old under Kathy Snyder, who lived in this village. She went all through camp and then moved into being a counselor in training, a volunteer job. I had nothing to do with the village board. She then moved up to senior counselor. I was working midnight shifts. There came a time when Kathy Snyder left and moved to Florida, and Deputy Mayor Ernie Patine appointed newly retired athletic director Thomas Taylor from the Clarkstown School District as the director of camp. Tom came and sought out my daughter Jennifer as one of his assistants, with her rising through the ranks to her present position as assistant camp director, me having nothing to do with the village board. walking a beat somewhere in Newburgh. Jennifer's qualifications, as she's a 17th year 6th grade Valley Central school teacher with a master's degree plus 30. She was recently honored, and I mean the other day, as a mentor to others. Jennifer's written numerous letters of recommendations to counselors for college kids, and actually has one of her counselors now working with her at summer camp, who's a full-time teacher in Goshen. My second nepotistic daughter is Michelle Donovan, who again has been going to this camp since she's 5 years old and worked her way up through the ranks. Michelle is an 11-year school district teacher, 6 of those in this district, and teaches 2nd grade in East Coldenham. Michelle also has a master's degree plus 30 credits and is a Gold Award recipient in the Girl Scouts, which is an Eagle Scout. My third nepotistic relative is my son-in-law, Greg Jackson, who got a job at the Village Department of Public Works several years ago before I was even on this board, and was only dating my daughter at the time. He rode the back of a garbage truck for 7 years until he moved up to the laborer position. Greg went to school for municipal water treatment and now has his license in his field, all on his own time, preparing him for a second field job upon him retiring from the village. He runs the water department in this village. My biggest fear is that he leaves this village, and now we have to contract to a private company that will cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, like several municipalities have to do. There is a shortage of municipal workers, municipal water operators. Our water has to be checked several times a day, maintained every single day. Oh, and by the way, he has a bachelor's degree in economics at a New Falls College. And I forgot, my second son-in-law, Christopher Donovan, who's been dating my daughter since they were 11 years old, and now they've been married for several years. Some of you were at the wedding. He's a career fireman and a lieutenant with the Beacon Fire Department. He's an EMT and has several times filled in at the summer camp because for whatever reason, the nurse couldn't make it. And if they don't have a nurse on duty, the camp gets closed. So he sat down there on his own time so there would be an EMT or a nurse available. He was a volunteer fireman for this district for several years. All my children have volunteered for several events in this village, and they have been taught to give back. This is why they are all well-respected residents of this community. They own houses and live right here in the village. Oh, let me mention my 12-year-old granddaughter, Emma, who volunteered her whole morning on camp registration day to hand out shirts and equipment to the campers and their parents after they signed up. And my other grandson, Evan, who's graduated from Dare a couple of years ago and then came down here and spoke to the chief's Dare graduation while they were handing out, telling him he also graduated from Dare. I also want to mention how my grandkids hand out flags at all the parades and stand on the corners of Roosevelt and Goodwill on Memorial and Veterans Day. Handing out flags. I have never ever voted on anything that they do with my family, they do with this village. Any member of my family. If this is nepotism, then damn it, I'm guilty of it. Let's move on. Summer camp discussion led by Trustee Picarella or Trustee Milton.
We do have a nepotism policy slated to go in the new policy book, correct?
I don't know, but I have one I can
I've
grab.
been researching in
Yeah,
Nikon, they have several.
I have one we can put in. It's really,
They're not concerned with
it's
members of the same family working for the municipality. They're concerned with
direct
what you can
supervision.
do.
It's really,
Exactly.
right,
It
so
can't be a
what,
part of direct supervision.
yeah, whatever we put in, obviously when anyone, a proposed candidate for employment or contract with the village, that's already in the ethics law that the member of the board who would normally be voting on such a thing would recuse themselves. That happens now, that's always happened. As far as nepotism, as the deputy mayor said, it's more geared, and I have this in other municipalities, you don't want someone who's a direct relative in the chain of command underneath that person. We had a situation in another municipality where there was a DPW situation where a particular division, there was a son who was working under the department head, and we needed to, this was several years ago, and we needed to rectify that, because you shouldn't have, not that there was anything improper going on, but you don't want to have the appearance that someone's getting favorable treatment. That's really the nature of a nepotism policy. As far as voting to hire someone, that's an automatic. That's an automatic recusal anyway. So yeah, I think we have something ready for the handbook on that, but if not, we can
Right.
develop it pretty quickly.
Because it's not about the people, and again, it's an uncomfortable conversation.
No, it's a
If we're
position
Tell me
thing.
about
trying to be, if we're trying to make sure that we are compliant and utilizing best practice and maintaining public trust, then some of these conversations have to be uncomfortable. They are not about the people. We love it here and we love all the people here. That's why we live here, all of us collectively. But if we want to do better and be compliant and move forward, some of these things have to be addressed. Not because we don't think people should work here, but because you need to implement strong conflict of interest and supervision boundaries, use transparent and competitive hiring, which we don't currently do, and consider limiting total related hires or requiring council approval beyond a threshold. Those are the main recommendations. And it's in order to maintain public trust. That's what we're trying to do. That's it.
We are maintaining trust. I don't agree with you that we're not following rules. And I had to appear in front of the ethics
I
board
don't
on
really think you
nepotism,
should be
okay?
speaking to that at all.
Well, it was the perception that your relatives work for the village. They also volunteer for the village too.
So anyway,
Let's move on to the,
so just to put a point on this, we can certainly put something in writing with respect to the nepotism as it relates to chain of command. I don't think that's ever been an issue here, but there's nothing wrong with putting it in and having it in writing. That's all. Very simple.
okay, summer camp discussion led by one of you two were talking about, I didn't know who was it, so we put you both down there. I need to walk out on this or just stand something up because I don't get involved in summer camp, so it's, you guys are up.
Sure, it
Yeah,
wasn't,
there is no place to.
well, sure, it wasn't necessarily a discussion. I had received one phone call from a parent asking if there was money cut from the summer program. And last year, there was $120,000 allotted, and this year, there's $136,000 allotted for that line. Nothing has been cut. It has been increased, it's been given. Reading on history, if there's anything that the summer rec staff program need, come to the board, we will find it. There was nothing cut from that line.
It was $9,000.
That's all.
No, it was reallocated, so there wasn't a
It was
plan.
not
There was no
reallocated.
So there wasn't a planned surplus.
It was not reallocated. As
Can
you
you
were.
repeat the statement
Which thing?
that you, when we were going back and forth, what you clarified the facts to be?
Well, what I clarified, there was no, when this was, I don't have the minutes in front of me. I don't know, Tina, you have them?
We have a
It was
recording.
in the email, when we were going back and forth about what it meant.
What it meant?
And you said in your email, cut, because Will misspoke and said reallocate, and you jumped right on it. No,
And you jumped
cut.
right on putting it out there, didn't you?
I didn't do that.
All right, let's not do this. Please.
That was me who put it out there as a department head.
I
Okay,
didn't do it.
here's the reality of what's gonna happen. There is an expectation, and it's already been budgeted from the town, that they are paying, I believe, $20,180.
21.5.
21.5.
Whatever, 21.5.
No, it's 20,000.
I thought it was, I thought the line, I thought the line you told me was 20,180. Whatever the number.
Based on what,
Go ahead.
Okay.
When,
hold on,
go ahead.
based on what Steve had confirmed a month and a half ago, it was 20,180, and you will find that in the revenue line.
Okay, yes, I
Right.
saw it. I
And
saw
that's
it.
in addition to
It's all accounted for,
In
Brian.
addition to what?
what we already allotted.
We didn't allow anything.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
No,
They get that money
Collections.
from registration.
From the
We don't give
collections
them
from-
any money.
it's registrations and also for the before and after. The expectation is with the money from the town, there are gonna be no cuts to any of the program lines
Okay,
or programs themselves.
so my understanding, where we left off, was during the conversation which was a special meeting on the 29th. There was a conversation with the payroll line. Can you guys hear me in the back?
Yes.
There's the payroll line, and then I'm talking expenses, because revenue is different than expenses. There's a payroll line and the expenses.
Right.
The payroll line remained flat
Right.
to what was agreed to on the submission, which was 125,000 and change, I think 784. We were told to cut the 20,180 on the expense line by 9,000.
Right.
So that was reduced, where in the
On
revenue
the
line.
expense line.
On the expense line, not the revenue, correct.
Right. So when the revenue comes in, there'll probably need to be an adjustment.
So as a mayor, at this I get involved in, do I tell the town just send us $12,000 or
No,
what?
no.
What do
We're
I do
not
then?
cutting registration fees and we're not cutting the income from the town. We're not allocating tax dollars that don't have to be allocated to it because the revenue has already been brought in. When we, correct me
Not
if
all,
I'm
not
wrong,
all of it.
No.
Not
but it's
all the
been
revenue.
signed up for.
I don't think the registrations are complete and we don't have the check from the county.
Okay, but
So let's be clear.
the proposed
What
expected, you said.
will ultimately happen is when the check comes in from the town, assuming that the registrations for the camp and the before and after for those who are paying for that, once we have the money from the town, there will more than likely be an excess of that revenue and it will be adjusted back. Yes?
Right. So,
What?
So it read as a surplus because the expenditures that Tom had written out were less than the $20,000. So that's how you word it. So that money can be used for salaries as well. So you take the overlap.
No,
Yes,
it
again.
can't.
Yes,
No,
again.
it cannot.
We verified it with the
We were
town.
told you cannot be used for
And
salaries.
you were misread.
Really?
Salary
I went
line
to the town
wasn't cut.
directly.
They don't need it.
But the
But-
$20,000
Can I just say
cannot be
something? Can I
used for
just say
salaries.
something?
Tom, you just have, everybody has to announce who
Mike,
you
you're
are.
right.
He's done.
You have to announce who you are.
There's one person.
He's done.
He's done.
Jeez,
He's done.
All right.
Tom,
I don't like what's going on here.
That's the same people that.
All of you should be ashamed because kids are the ones that are doing something. 20 years, 20 plus years, I've put into this.
Funny, all your children came to camp and now you don't care about them anymore.
I don't think that one
maybe that's what we can do,
Cannot
guys.
use
Maybe
for
Debbie's ready to go too.
All right.
What else
They
can
are
we do
not
here?
accounting for their expenses. There are 3 lines, one income line, and they're, well, you're
Can I-
talking.
can I-
Can
Can I speak as a department head, because it is the first of the meeting, so
So we can speak.
I'd like to speak, because no one's come to me. The only person that came to me was Mr. Imbriani, who told me that I need to raise registration and that I am too cheap, and that I should not give
April 8th.
discounts. You were very specific. On April 8th, I met you in there, and you said, you're too cheap. At Frozen Ropes, we charge by the week. You'll get people to come for $200 a week. I said, I'm not here to make the village revenue. My job is to make sure that kids can be at camp and we can do what we need to do. I'll get you more money. I'll get you grants. I'll get you this, because you want to take their tax money. You want to take their money and you want to put it back as revenue. A few years back, we've only gotten $18,000 from the town. We asked for a little bit more because Maybrook closed their doors. Now, both Mike Bliss and I get $21,500. He runs a $200,000 budget over there, and you both know that because you contacted him and to run about us. We don't run a $200,000 budget. We don't have lifeguards. We don't have the ability to run that. We used to run 250 kids out of there, but we were pushed out of the senior center, so we're no longer allowed to. So, because God forbid there's a storm, I can't. We've had tornado watches over there numerous times, and my job is to protect those kids. So we're down to 150. We were one of only 2 camps to open during COVID. Those kids wore masks inside. They had the best time in the world. And I know you're going after our salaries because you don't like what you see. So here's about salaries. We start in January. I log every one of my hours. And I thought my dad was silly about that. I was like, why do I have to do that? Because I knew they were coming after me. I log every one of my hours. I'm here hour after hour. We don't bring a counselor in for morning care. We run morning care. We used to run aftercare, but I was escorted by the cops 3 times home because parents were after me because they left their kids here till 6 o'clock at night and told me they would just feed me, and it was my job to watch their children. So I don't stay later anymore because I got 3 of my own kids that I have to watch. I do this, and I told my husband I do this because I like to do it, and when I don't like to do it anymore, I'll just do my teaching during the year. Work really hard at this, and it really pains me when I watch the video that you posted, I had to get it because you don't let me see them. But I watched the video that you posted that says you are cutting it. It says there was a motion made, you jumped right on it and said, I cut 9,000. But we've argued this with Steve for years. It is an estimation depending on who signs up. You can go back and you can look at all the years past. On years we don't make the revenue, we take cuts. Took like a $2,000 cut during COVID. I had to, because I wanted camp to still run. So we took it. So of course it's on revenue. We shouldn't have to we build a budget, but it shouldn't go into the line because we don't know what we're gonna make. And this year's, our numbers are amazing. We have a week of 165 because it pained me to say no to a parent. So we need another counselor. So that budget is built on a what if. And we got the what if. And you didn't like that we made extra, so you took it away. I need another counselor. I need at least 2. This is a safety concern. I've ridden in an ambulance with a kid choking on a grape to the hospital, and Michelle had to get in and drive me home. We've had EpiPen emergencies here. There's a lot of things. We also have our nurses that come from Garnett and St. Luke's when they're not working. I don't know what they're going to get paid because they didn't give me their schedules yet. One's an RN, one's an EMT. We don't know. It's not a fine line. Your children went here, all 5 of them. Your children went here and worked for me. You have to understand the budget is made the way it is until we see it. But then as soon as you saw revenue, as soon as you saw extra, you took it. And don't say you didn't because it's on video. You wanted our salaries. You made Tom sign a letter that said, if you don't make the money, you drop your salaries. No, duh. We've been doing that for years. Of course we wouldn't ask for more money. We've been $11,000. We've been $11,000 in the black for years. I'm a department head. It is okay because I'd like answers.
We need reporting.
We need what?
We need proper reporting.
Proper reporting. Tom gives constant packets to all of you. We've asked for that playground to be fixed. We've asked for the exit sign to be fixed. Jake fixes it. Buddy fixes it. They all fix it. We've asked for that fence out there to be fixed. You were very clear on Little League needs to fix this. We've been asking for that for years. Like you're talking to me like I don't know. You've been gone for 40 years. I've been here for 40 years. I've asked for this. We're dedicated. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. Years and years and years. We took it from a half-day $50 camp to a full-day camp, which people line up for. I got a text at 6:18 in the morning, and it said, Jen, where do you want me to line up? I was like, I'm still in bed. What are you talking about? She's like, there's 20 people here to sign up for camp. 20 people. And you know why we don't do online registration? Because we want to save those parents money. Because the percentage that they take from us is ridiculous. Every time they jump thousands of dollars into our account, we take 5%. Every time a parent signs up, it's 3% on them. We're saving them money. I'd love to sit at my kids' lacrosse game or my alumni game or my other kids' lacrosse game, but I sat here for 4 hours and we took their revenue and we saw their smiles and we gave them their shirts and it was the best day. I only got 2 complaints. But when you get the paper that says, you'll get my kids' immunization when I feel like it, it's discouraging because I spend hours on my work, on top of being a teacher, on top of being a mom. And if they didn't like our camp, they wouldn't sign up. We are maxed out and I need counselors and you took $9,000 away.
And now you have to Tom, I'm not accepting it. What? I'm not accepting your resignation. I want you to think about it.
Let him resign.
So I mean, in years past, if there's a surplus at the end of the year in the camp budget, where does that go?
You keep it. You keep it. You always keep it. It's always been kept.
Exactly what
And
happened.
where is that
So
written?
you can keep
Where
it
is
after.
that procedure and protocol written?
Ask the town supervisor.
He's not the mayor. I'm asking you, the liaisons, and I'm asking the mayor and the deputy mayor.
It goes in the fund balance.
Okay.
That's
But it's
where it always
after.
goes, if it's left over. They don't get the leftover money. It stays in the village.
We've been fighting for that for years, and nobody will give it back. I was told buy playground equipment. Do you know how much playground equipment costs? Thousands. So $11,000 go back. I'm never ever in the red.
The
Ever.
fact that this is being spun in a political way, that anybody is attacking camp.
Because you're attacking us.
There's plans forward and have uncomfortable. I'm sitting here uncomfortable as all get out, trying to have a
Welcome to my
conversation.
world in my last year.
I'm here because I love it here. here. I'm here because my kids have gone to that camp. I hear about everything. What I also am trying to do, and what other people on this board, but the job of a trustee is to allocate tax dollars, not to do revenue. We're talking about accounting for expenses and saying that there's a surplus, and that's bad. The only thing that's reflected in the summer camp line.
Because it's not a surplus if I need more counselors. You saw the money. You saw the money and you just said it's a surplus. Well, now my question is, I need another counselor.
So let me give you my perspective. So we're looking at a budget that only has 2 lines.
And you have another one on the side that has everything else. The amount of time then look at it. He gives it to you every time. So then stop saying there's only 3 lines. You see my budget.
But the increase was $25,000 off of the program from last year, which was also $20,000 more from the program from 2 years prior.
Okay.
So we increased.
So you're going, okay, and then I'd like to say something.
$25,000 in 3 years on a program that's existed for 60. Now, my question was, why? And when I looked at things like, okay, the bounce houses, now I'll use it for an example. We spent, so here's the allocation for you I'm talking about. We spent $6,000, or you have slated $6,500 for bounce houses. Reality, you're probably going to pay something about $5,400, correct?
Hopefully.
So my point to you is, to buy a commercial bounce house is $3,000. If we bought 2 of them and had them ourselves, we could use them for everything else, and then you save $24,000 over the next 4 years.
And you talk to us like we've never done this before.
Are you gonna come down and maintain
It is hundreds of pounds, the cleanup, the mold, where to store it. We bought the tent down there. You use it for everything else. It's got holes in it. We gotta buy another one. There's a lot of, we've talked about these, but you don't come and ask us
You just
questions.
welcomed yourself back into the village.
You don't
So
have
you
to
haven't been here.
ask
These
questions.
conversations have gone. Welcome back to the village.
All right, folks, please.
For $24,000.
And we've looked at that before, and if you sat down and spoke to us, I could have told you that.
For every year, Tom gives us a packet like this of what goes on in that summer camp, and I read it, and I think the rest of it goes in the garbage. He is so detailed.
The goal going forward should be that we are present for consistent reporting and budget processes, the quarterly budget work session, and that's the informational, interactive, and inclusive thing that we are pushing for to do better next year. And this is illustrating exactly why we need it, because there are only 2 lines for expenses, and they only cover payroll, and they only cover contractuals, which are vendor fees. Any other bills, any other expenses of the camps are taken on by the village and represented in other lines in the village budget. Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Yes.
Where's the line for workers' comp liability? None of those lines are in there.
And
None of
Debbie
those
said
lines are
we
in
fall
Tom's
under
report.
everybody else, so we don't need anything extra.
Wrong.
Debbie, you asked Debbie that when I was sitting there, and she said it's a blanket insurance over everybody. And we just got money back because I don't
Any
know.
other expense.
So let's ask Debbie.
I'm gonna make a comment because I think this is ridiculous.
Are you gonna quit food,
On
Debbie?
everybody, to be honest with you, on everybody. I've been a professional for over 30 years. You guys have heard me over and over talk about the budget in detail. No one's ever talked about the budget in this level of detail. Before it was just stuffed in your face. We have 2 lines. We have a payroll line and a contractual line. I want to separate what you're saying because there's 2 different things, your messages you're trying to give, and you guys are bunching it all in once, which is not fair to anybody in the summer camp, and it's not fair to the residents either. If you want the summer camp to cover the phone lines, the Central Hudson, and things like that, that's a separate discussion than what's needed for the summer camp. And I think those 2 conversations have to be separate. And until people realize that, that's going to happen. In terms of the line item budgeting, I'm going to say it, and I hate to say it because I'm the first one to tell everybody. This village has done things for years the same way. I'm saying years. We're going through a transformation to get to detail. It's going to take time. I've talked to other areas, and they say a line item detail is not easy to convert to. You will be going through nightmares moving money every day. Okay? So that's one thing I'm going to tell you guys. It's no one's hiding anything. We give reporting. You guys have seen it. We don't have monthly reporting because it was never set up. It's something that I'm going to be working on. But this has to stop. We have to come to some consensus as human beings. This is almost to the point. What I'm gonna say right now is how we did this. In that meeting, it was $20,180 in the expense line, the contractual. That covered their bound houses, their arts and crafts, all the details, which totaled just about that. Will something come down or not? They're gonna negotiate. You don't know until the end. Sometimes I would be the one who used to order the supplies for them. Once in a while it went over, guess what? Sometimes it was under. Why? Because I negotiate hard. In terms of payroll. In payroll. That's right.
You got me a coupon every time.
Coupon we can get, we get it. Okay, in terms of payroll, that is based on hourly rates. Our village councilors were paid under the minimum wage for years. For years. Then the competition happened across all the different villages. So 2 years ago, you did see an increase. And they brought it up significantly. Why? Because the competitor, they couldn't even get people to come in. And I can tell you, I said in the first front office, now I wasn't in the back office, I was in the front office, the applications weren't coming in. So they raised it. Now what's gonna happen? Do they raise it again? At one point, they gotta get somewhere on par to the other markets. We solicited Walden to understand what Walden's paying. Walden is paying from $16 all the way to $24 for councils. Our councils get about the lower end. Just so you're clear. So in terms of transparency, we have been so damn transparent in this budget process.
Yes, we have.
This is for everybody. I'm not picking on anyone, this is for everybody. I don't want to hear it anymore.
No.
Budgeting for line item detail will happen. It's not going to happen to the level that everybody wants. Why? Because it's not easy. You have to go through hell. You want a budget line pencils? Then guess what? Then maybe you might get my resignation. But it's not going to happen. I said to you all, when we went through the budget meeting, and I met with all of you except for one 3 times. What's going to happen is when we get through the budget season, right? And that doesn't finish until July, guys. There's a lot more that has to happen that you guys don't know about. I will look to fill it out with telephone lines, Central Hudson lines, and the cable spectrum, whatever the hell the company's called. That takes a lot. We budgeted as whole, then we'll split it out. Then we'll start understanding a little bit better how much is spent everywhere. But guess what? They're not the only ones who use the rec center. There's other people like baseball, right? Who else, Tina? Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. Does the village to be responsible to support these activities as residents, as business owners? I don't know. I never questioned them.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Debbie, okay?
Well, we have to have the information.
But you're not going to get there overnight, and that's why I'm frustrated. Correct. We have to understand that a decision was made that $125,000 is in the expense line for salary. That's assuming you bring in the registration. They've maxed out, God willing, everybody pays their second installment, and then we get that. And if not, they will have to lower their salary. In the expense line for $20,180, that was cut by $9,000. I'm sorry to say.
Because we were told the budget requested was $145,000 and change, right? I'm rounding, using round numbers. The amount budgeted by village tax dollars was $136,000. The reported registration.
This is what I'm asking, only for any clarification. Registration money comes to the people who register, which is not tax dollars.
Right, but what we're looking at the budget is allocating tax dollars.
No.
It's from the town, it's not your money.
It's a wash.
They told you over and over.
How can you take money, give it to a rec, and give it to a
The
tax?
revenue line and the expense line, and you don't have any change in your tax rate.
Right, but we're not in charge of allocating the revenue for the registration dollars. We're looking at the budget as a whole.
No. But even if you have $125,000 in revenue, you have $125,000 in the expense line. If you take both of them away, your tax rate will still be the tax increase.
And we were still
I seem to understand it with no problem.
Right, I'm an idiot. So, the registration that we were told you took in was $130,000. That's what we were told.
Where are you getting that figure?
Now, that's what Darlene, the liaison, said at the meeting.
Didn't all come in yet anyway. People can back out.
Didn't happen.
We're not paying.
Can I ask a question? So Debbie, can I ask you this? So if we come up short, we put money back in there, correct?
No, from where?
So are we taking it, what Will talking about?
He's saying, well, can I, so I can understand, I gotta do this, right? And I'm learning this too, you know. So what Will had recommended is that if there's extra money, then we'll have to make a budget adjustment. But we're not gonna know that until way after. And that doesn't happen until after the tax season goes.
And when,
So we've already had the cut, it's impacted the budget. So the budget that we're submitting is 9,000 less on the expense.
right, but when the money comes in from the town, after that, if there's those additional expenses, there will need to be a budget amendment. That's what I've been saying the whole time.
We're not cutting yet, we're not cutting anything.
You cut 9,000, we all saw your vote, why do you keep saying you didn't?
Cut it, and you took it from camp. It says 9,000 from the camp budget. You're taking it from the camp.
The point is, there'll be.
So when I ask for another council, I'm gonna be
There'll
told
be an
no.
amendment.
After June,
When,
after the
when,
AFR actually, which is July.
right, when the town makes the payment, they'll more than likely
Amendments when
need
the
to
town
be
makes
made.
payment.
I remember two things that happened that day. The $9,000 cut for the summer camp and the wanting to cut $10,000 from the senior center. And I said, absolutely not. And then Steve said, no, my mother likes to go on those trips. I don't want to cut the $10,000.
So you cut it from the camp.
So, when the camp money comes in, there's gonna have to be a budget.
Right.
Well, that's what's gonna have to happen. Otherwise, presuming that comes in, everything should be fine. Then it'll be a while. Well, Tom? Tom?
That's what I was.
Could we not resign, please?
Probably need to see the law. Because money's perfect all these years. Why did you have to put that down?
Please.
And that's all I'll say. All right, let's move on to adopt a resolution to approve the Liberty contract.
Time out a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We need it. Forget it. Listen,
Tom, you guys.
and I'll deal with that, okay? Take your letter back. Please take your letter back.
I cannot dream of being a village trustee, but what I have done and shown in the community and how much I love and care about it is the reason that I'm sitting here. So how come that comes with this automatic?
It's on video. You cut it.
All right, folks, ladies and
Just admit you were wrong and move forward.
please, okay, ladies and gentlemen, just,
Aren't there rules?
just, ladies and gentlemen, this will get worked out one way or the other. Tom has just graciously withdrawn his resignation letter. We will.
I'll tell you, the year here has been unbelievable.
We will get this one way or another. We will sort it out.
Adopt a resolution to approve the Little League contract. I'd like a discussion on this.
Is that you want to discuss?
Yeah, I want to discuss the Little League contract.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
I am very.
What did you say?
Please, let's just.
Do you
All right,
forget the
go on,
senior
go on.
meetings when we were talking senior center?
All right, guys. All right, please, come on, okay. I want to make a discussion on the Little League, all right? Our family is very pro Little League, okay? My wife manages 2 girls teams for years. I am very, very big on Little League here. The thing I have a problem with is why, again, the village of Montgomery, and he's our attorney, why do we always have to have an attorney negotiate the contract? There's other municipalities coming in there, let them chip in on this. Let them chip on this. It's again, like I said at the last meeting, a lot of you weren't there. Why is the senior center always used for early voting? Why 10 days our seniors can't use the senior center? They can't have senior luncheon because the village of Montgomery, again, hosts something else at our expense. Why are we doing this? We have the best pickleball courts. Everybody from all over comes there. Everybody comes here. Other places charge. Oh, come on to the village of Montgomery. Use all our stuff. Now flush your toilets into our place here. Why is it always the village of Montgomery? Okay? I have no problem with Little League. My kids play Little League. My grandkids play it. But let's start sharing the wealth here. It costs money. Why don't these other places do it? This contract was out there for 3 months. Now we're negotiating, this stuff. Hit the freaking ball, have a good time. No, we got to negotiate this. And then it comes down to the wire here. And they cost money. And we're always the hosts. Everybody else. You use somebody else's field, they charge you to use it. Here, come on down, do whatever. I'm tired of that. I'm going to be a resident here long after I'm the mayor, and I don't want to keep paying this stuff. So, as far as the Little League contract, I'm for it. But we better start getting money from other places too.
So anyway, I made the changes. I received changes from a couple of board members, and actually Trustee Embriani, who's going to recuse himself from this, had some changes. They were all, for the most part, things that were okay. Deputy Mayor had some changes that were made. The one that was in my folder was not the most recent version. I emailed the most recent version, which was version 3, around to everybody yesterday. I assume you all had a chance to look at it because I didn't get phone calls. So I think at this point we're in good shape to go ahead with this contract in its present form.
And I apologize for all the stuff you had to do on it. Well, I know you get paid for it, but it was really...
I think
all right, make a motion to accept the Little League contract. Second.
Steve, you're out. Who seconded? Who
I'll
seconded?
make a motion.
Somebody has to second.
Mayor seconded.
Second. All in favor? Opposed?
Abstention? 1.
Okay. Carried.
Thank you. Mayor, you can sign this version.
This isn't the sewer contract, is it? I'm not signing that.
Yeah, no. That one's to raise my fee.
Yeah. Nice try.
All right, here's somebody whose name is getting out there and she just doesn't stop. Tracy Casey, to present a donation check to the Montgomery Free Library. Come on, I want to participate in that stuff. You're always doing something. You're always volunteering. Always, always. That's what volunteering is. Is this from the Easter Bunny?
Easter breakfast.
Yep. Yep. And you go to this is.
And we are also, since I had incredible intentions, because I didn't get to get on the actual thing, pickleball for May 17th, from 12 to 5, we have the pickleball court closed over by the senior center, because there's not going to be no parking or anything, so.
Can you guys is right over there? Please. That's good right there, guys. Thank you. Mom? Thank you.
On behalf of the library, I would like to thank Tracy and her efforts and her crew for this donation, and to all the village residents that support the library.
May 17th, that's from the whole area will be full, and
Tracy's done a fundraiser for the Caboose with Corey Pickle, and she's doing a...
So it's not so much, so through the village, for my events that I do, I have an account through the community foundation. So I'm going to start a page, a donation page for the Caboose, which will be
It's gonna be our welcome center, so we wanna collect donations and get it renovated. I have a gentleman who offered to paint it for nothing, so.
It's,
There's a vendor, an adoption event
Oh,
here. So-
thank you.
Mayor, if I could for a minute,
I'm sorry.
just give me one sec, please.
Oh,
Just so anybody who was following the agenda, there was one item that was tabled, the approving of the police chief's proposal for cameras, excuse me, under the LETEC grant. The board's not going to act on that tonight because the chief may have.
I got another proposal from another company, so it's not right for me to go forward with this one.
Right, so there may be another vendor that may save the village some of that grant money, so that one's been tabled for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. All right, then moving on, adopt a resolution to re-levy outstanding water bills of FY 2024 to 2025 rents and approve a payment of $40,831.78 for water, $49,203.81 for sewer, for a total of funds in the amount of $90,035.59.
I'll make that motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I make a comment?
Huh? No, very good.
No, finish the vote, no.
Carry.
Did everybody vote?
No.
I didn't hear the vote.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Oh, okay.
I'll take the.
No.
I just wanted to
Taking
remind
a
you,
death, so.
I forgot to ask you to remind the residents, we're doing meter readings right now, and you have till the 12th, I think, was published on Facebook. Please get your meter readings in, because we're gonna start the June payment cycle, so June water bills go out June 1st, or June 2nd, whatever that might be.
We can do a roll call, Sean.
Thanks, Terry. Okay, Department of Public Works Superintendent Henry to discuss raising water and sewer rates. Very good.
Now he wants to borrow Joe's vest.
Okay, as we know, we're not getting further and further behind, but obviously water, sewer rates. We haven't raised sewer, I don't even know the last time sewer was raised. Water, I believe, was about 3 years ago. We raised 4 years ago? 4 years ago, we raised water. Obviously, everything keeps going up. So, to get us back in the ballpark, me and Debbie sat down, went through some numbers, what we need, and we're gonna need a $3.55 increase. Total. Okay, right now we're at like $9.95 for both water and sewer per 1,000. We need to get up to about $13.50. So, the way I broke it down is we're gonna do.
Can you just repeat the last sentence, I'm sorry.
Right now we're at $9.95. We're gonna be $13.50. We need to get up to like $13.50 per 1,000. And that's combined water and sewer. The way I broke it down, we'll go with $1 on water, $2.55 on sewer. Obviously, sewer is the one that we need to get up. Did some research, it's still way cheaper than anybody around us.
And Walden and Maybrook are both raising their rates this year as well.
Okay, yeah, and we're considerably lower than them now. Even with the raise, we're still lower than them. So yeah, so our new water rate is gonna be it's gonna be $5.45, and our new sewer rate is gonna be $8.05. And again, that's per 1,000.
When does that take effect?
It will take effect.
That'll be communicated in the next water bill meeting, and that'll take effect in the December cycle.
Board's
We have
got
to
to,
give 6 months.
board's got to vote on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, when do you want that to take effect?
We would like it to take effect in the December billing, so we were hoping to get it voted on tonight.
For what then?
We bill twice.
We bill twice a year.
Yeah.
So
You're
we
not-
don't
You
bill
don't wanna
monthly.
do this retro, you're talking about
No.
next December.
Yeah, next billing
Okay.
cycle.
So we need to get it on the agenda and get it out there.
Well, we have to communicate it.
Yeah.
This June billing, so he was hoping to get a vote today,
Okay,
so this way it could be included in the billing messaging that goes out. It's a process that has to, now the messaging go out, the
What-
rates are still the same.
No, yeah,
June
when-
7th,
the bills actually go out June 1st, right?
June 2nd and.
June 2nd, when's the next meeting? We have another meeting, right?
Yes.
We can tee up the bills for June, but I would suggest we have it as a formal action at the next meeting, if we have time. The next meeting,
The 20th.
be good if we do it the 20th, and,
Sure.
yeah, I would suggest, Mayor,
Yes,
I would suggest putting that on the agenda for the 20th, so that'll be in time for the bills, just to have it as an item on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, Jake. Adopt a resolution setting the standard, do we have to vote on that?
What?
Do we have to vote on putting that on the resolution to do?
No, I'm just gonna add it to the agenda for the 20th.
All right, thank you. Adopt a resolution setting the standard workday for elected and appointed officials in accordance with the Office of New York State Controller, New York State and local retirement system. I make a motion on that as well?
Yep.
All right, make a motion. All in favor? Opposed?
We also need to, approve my original 90-day log from 2 years ago.
What's that?
We also need to approve my original 90-day log from 2 years ago. It's been submitted.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, the electeds, if they're choosing to pay into the retirement system, they present a log, a 90-day log. I reviewed the log that trustee Picarella put in, and it seemed to be in order, so you can make a motion, somebody can make a motion to approve that log. Because that gets reported to New York State.
Okay, make a motion to approve that law.
I make a motion.
Well, the mayor made the motion, is that a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carry. Approve the annual
Tina,
insurance.
I'm sorry, Mayor, Tina 401 on that. One abstention.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Approve the annual insurance renewal with Tokyo Marine HCC totaling $157,616 effective as of June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2027. Will just update me on what that is.
What this?
Okay, all right, I'm sorry, thank you.
No, Tokyo Marine, isn't that our general liability?
Workman's comp, workman's.
Is it workers' comp?
The bottom number is 80, I don't know the number.
82,860.
So it's a 2-year contract, you lock in the rate, you pay the
82,860.
1 year, and the next year, the 82,860 is broken up by quarter.
Thank you.
So we have,
But in total funding contribution is 157,610 over 2 years.
this is through,
And that gets split out by all the time, next 430.
but our workers comp is through Tokyo Marine, right?
Yes.
So, I have some questions, but I guess someone has to make a motion, and then that's discussion. I'll second for discussion. I just have a couple of questions. Are we compliant in the required submission? I read through the, sorry. Are we compliant in the required submission? You have to submit as part of the, requirements of, like, I was reading through the document. That's a function of what we're doing. April, right? You would know, right? Why did employee practices liability go up so much? Is that just based on payroll?
Yes.
Strictly based on payroll?
I
not
can't say
something
strictly,
you did.
I could say some of it, because direct correlation.
Payroll increase, okay. what does the umbrella cover? Because that's the question that comes up a lot when we're talking about working towards budget. What does the umbrella portion of policy cover?
Since I'm asking for
And then on here it says YMCA, all employees and critical. Is that restoration and camping is something that they use for that? On the declaration page.
Assuming that's just the code they have.
Right?
Assuming it's the code they have that's closest to
Right.
the rec staff.
Okay. So yeah, I would like some clarification on what exactly the umbrella covers. And that the employee practices liability increase must just be strictly on liability. We can clarify that. It has no bearing on voting for the policy. I just have those questions.
This is a 2-year policy?
Yeah.
We got a better rate because we locked it in for 2 years.
Every year they usually, if you do 2 years, you lock it in, you get a little better rate, yeah.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one who knows it.
I think people get
Thank you for
confused
explaining.
with, I think people get confused with liability and then workers' compensation, and that's what, it's two separate.
So the overall increase is 12.3%. It includes a 3.5% exposure increase and an 8.8% rate increase. I'm assuming that the 8.8 rate increase is just that's what it is. And then the 3.5 exposure increase, what changed our exposure would be my other question.
I'll work with Jan to make sure.
Because what we do is that
Any more discussion?
No.
Good to call the vote?
all right, make a motion to
No,
accept.
you have the motion in the second. Just
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, events coming up. Tracy Casey. Day in the Park adoption and vendor fair fundraiser. Will be Saturday, May 17th at the Veterans Park from noon to 5. Tracy, do you want to say anything on that?
Well, I had already asked about the pickleball court, but no, it's gonna be a great day. It's the same day as the village-wide yard sale. So if anybody wants to take the opportunity to set up their yard sale down at the event and pay $25 to go, a donation to the SPCA's and shelters, you might get a bit more of your job.
Somehow I think you carefully planned this out. The village-wide yard sale is Saturday, May 17th from 10 to 5, so guys be careful, people will be looking and you don't want to get bumped in the back or something like that. The Memorial Day Parade will be Monday, May 26th, with a step-off at the corner of Walkville and Clinton Streets. We will be handing out flags at the corner of Roosevelt and Goodwill. I've not decided on the time yet, because I'm trying to make it the best time for all of us. All of us can come down here, not just the Henbury family, all of us. I will not be up at any of the photo op places, because they all know that it's on Memorial Day. By us standing on the corner handing out the flag, we're educating people that there's more than the sales and the stores. We're educating them what Memorial Day is. Okay, move on. Request to meet with the board. Discussions limited to 3 minutes. First up is Bernie Hillman. Can you come up here, please? Or wherever's louder over there, and just state your name and your address for the record, please.
Number 301 East Arizona Road. Last meeting here, we had $7,500 item that was from the town, I think, for the sewer study. Yeah. And the board explained to me, did the town want this or the village want this?
3 minutes.
Discussion.
3 members of the village voted for it, and
The town votes tomorrow night.
So the town came to our village board?
Yes.
Okay, and they're looking for help. They want to put their sewer down here, right? Yeah, just some. But that's a negotiating skill that just should come naturally to you board members here. They're gonna pay for that, regardless whether you took that $7,500, paid for it or not. They would've ate that $15,000 there. You guys turned around and threw our money right there, just like that. Yeah, it's my money. That's right. That $7,500 came from the village of Montgomery, didn't it?
well, they said they were gonna pay for it.
No,
It was gonna.
I'm asking.
Yes.
It came from the village of Montgomery.
Correct.
So negotiating, just to go move forward, right? If somebody's got something that we want, we're not gonna pay for it. That just should come natural to you guys. And I hear you guys with the budget and everything. That's $7,500 that you just threw right away. When you're in the driver's seat, I don't understand that for the life of me. I really don't. That's all I have to say. Next time, look a little closer at things before you start giving it away.
Thank you. Next up, Stacy Hillman. Please come up, say your name and address for the record.
Stacy Hillman, ceremonies, Searsville, Town of Montgomery. Before I start about the sewer, I just want to say, Mike, get rid of the car. Take the 80 cents a mile, because it'll cost this village. Hope you guys will be happy. Figure it out. Like, I don't know where the business sense is with you guys. 80 cents a mile is what you take, the most. It's an old car. Let them use it. Stop making a big deal. And I'm just going to say it, whether you guys want to hear it or not. You guys have Pembury derangement syndrome. A guy with chronic cancer, and you guys fight him on it. I mean, really, you looked at the whole budget and you came up with $9 grand out of a kids camp? Come on. And as far, and Stephen, I gotta give you credit, because you were quiet as a church mouse when you ran, but now all of a sudden you're a Joe engineer. It's quite interesting how all of a sudden you know all this. So I asked about the attorney last time. Who is the attorney that's going to represent us in regards to the sewer plan? Who is it?
Okay.
John. And what firm is he with?
Companion man and rider.
Okay. And are the new trustees, are they aware that there was a feasibility study done quite some time ago? And do you know what a feasibility study is?
Oh, that's this.
We know it's old. We know it needs an upgrade. That hasn't changed. When they did the study, if you had listened to Jay and didn't cut him off, Stephen, at the last meeting, he was trying to tell you they already took Vista More and the other development into consideration. That's all been considered. Nothing has changed since the last feasibility study. It's not checking for cracks. Okay, we already know what needs to be done. It looks at the whole picture. We know what we need. And as far as 500 more houses that you say can go in, is that with or without a sewer? Without a sewer? I don't know. Do you know how many building lots are open in this village to build on? Do you have any idea? If I had to guess, residential lots, maybe 5 in the village are available. Not much more than that. So I don't know where you're coming up with 500 houses. Again, with a municipal sewer that they could tap into, maybe. The Village of Montgomery engineer, who is that, Stephen? You said you talked to them. Who is it? You don't have to check your notes. Who is it? You don't know who it is, and you're not worried about it. Check his notes and spoke with them.
Please keep it down.
Guys, you spoke with them. Bullying. Again, let the derangement syndrome go. We're talking about dollars to the village taxpayer here. Let it go. So, who is the village engineer? I don't know, so can you tell me? You said you spoke with him. Okay, so you don't know who it is, but you spoke with him. I think our supervisor needs to give you better notes. Going forward, I would like to suggest that anything that has to do with the village sewage plant, it's gotta be voted on. Nobody on that board should be qualified or allowed to vote for taxpayer dollars like that. This is too big, it's way beyond the board. You guys gotta hold a special vote or something. So, what I really want to, I really want to believe that the new trustees were gonna be independent and free thinkers. I really wanted to believe that. But based on the fact that you guys met, you weren't even in office.
Oh,
And you met,
Stacy, time's up, I'm
excuse
sorry.
me, and you met behind, because I asked questions. You guys met behind the mayor's back at the town supervisor.
Stacy,
You turned out $9,000 in the budget. I am telling you, the next time he asks, let him know how shady it is, remind him he left this village, and that includes the cookie jar.
Stacy, your
And
time
he
is
needs
up.
to keep his hand out of our cookie jar.
Thank you. I didn't hear your question, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Next up, Mark, Mark gets the name and address for the record, please.
Mark Tomaszewski, Village of Montgomery, 214 Conference Road. Mark Tomaszewski, 214 Conference Road, Village of Montgomery. Hopefully what I say isn't very controversial, it'll be very short. If you go to the code of the village, chapter 114-37, speed limits. It says the speed limits are 30 miles an hour in the village. And then there's a list of...
Well, that's 147.11 and one.
Yes.
And then 114.37 is the ones that are 25 miles.
Well, 114.37 is a list of exceptions.
Right.
So they're either over or under. So one night I had insomnia, so I wanted to put myself to sleep, and I started going through the code, and I came across this. And I noticed that the street I live on, Conference Road, is not in that list. Neither is Roberts, neither is Purple Heart Way, neither is Conroy, neither is Mead Lane. So Mead Lane has the road that feeds my road, which is a U-shaped road, has a lower speed limit than my road. My road's totally residential. My next door neighbor across the street owns a daycare center with children. So all I'm asking is if, when you get a chance, and this shouldn't be controversial, if you could review the streets and include the ones, my feeling is every street that's residential should be 25 miles an hour. If you could when you get a chance, take a look, review the streets and include those.
I'm gonna get my argument on that.
Okay.
I'm for that. I got it.
Keep my mouth shut on everything else. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, Mr. Berger. Say your name and address for the record, please.
Don Berger, 158 Waters Edge, Montgomery. This meeting here really brings up what I want to talk about public comment and bringing back the public comment session that we've had for many, many years here in the Village of Montgomery. You have quite a list on the agenda. You spoke about a lot of controversial matters. And I had addressed this earlier in the year about the problem with the way the board is doing it now is that it doesn't allow the public to speak to the matters of the agenda and what's being talked about at these meetings. You're expecting us to put in a request a week before a meeting will exist, before an agenda is put together and where it's listed where we could actually find it, usually on a Monday or something like that. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. So what I'm requesting, and Mike, you had said a while back that if it was rowdy, remember back a few months ago, it was pretty rowdy. But
Really? I don't remember that.
Like tonight.
So go ahead.
Thank you. It hasn't been in the past few months. I think the decorum of the residents has been pretty decent. I just think that it would be a good idea and put whatever parameters you want to it for a public comment. Put the rules in and enforce the rules. 3 minutes. You let the lady overrun and you didn't have her sit down. 3 minutes. And then maybe a sign-in sheet. Before the meeting, you sign in, like the school district does. And like a lot of municipalities do. And I think it's very important that residents are able to speak to the matters of the board that day. And hopefully you guys are going to have a discussion on that tonight.
Can I answer on this? This is okay? The agenda was done to keep organization. The video camera, which I wanted, is $250 an hour. If you were to have open afterwards, just anybody talk about anything, 250 goes into 500, goes on to $750. Excuse me, I'm talking, thank you.
That's nice, and I'd like
So
to
what would
correct you, I
happen?
believe it's $250 per meeting.
I'm speaking, thank you. Okay, so what would happen is at the end of the meetings, it would go longer and longer. I'm trying to control money now. And as far as people staying within the 3 minutes, you saw one lady who was a school teacher stand up and say, I'm gonna talk, and she talked for 7.5 minutes. What was I supposed to do? Call the police? Excuse me, I'm talking, thank you. So that is why it was done. It was not to stop the public from talking. It was to stop the screaming and yelling that happened when Russia was the mayor here.
Mike, hold on, Mike. I went to all those meetings. He addressed me, well, please. When he addresses me, please leave me alone.
I didn't say a word to you.
You did too.
No, I didn't.
The time at those meetings, I was there for years, as you know. 2 or 3 people would show up at a meeting. So what screaming and hollering was going on? Nobody came to meetings like this. Nobody. I was there, Mike.
You were a big cause of it, screaming, yelling. Back and forth all the time, yelling and screaming.
Excuse me, darling?
I said because you and Steve doing
That's right, that's true. That is true. Steve and I used to go out. But, we didn't dislike each other as a result of it. I just think it's just a decent thing to do to allow the public to speak.
I'll still think about it, but I have it on the agenda. It's working out.
Well, I think you could have a discussion right now about it.
And I'm staying here within the 200.
Those cameras, we've had those cameras for years now. Years.
Those cameras were done about maybe 2 years ago. I had to put in for $250.
You forgot about my camera?
And I get another $50 on top of it to record both ends.
But I did it for years.
That's not yours. It was that there. So that's why. And this is done to keep it organized. With people putting their names on the agenda, so they're not just throwing stuff out.
But they can't speak to the matter of the agenda. Don't you understand that?
3 minutes up.
Thank you.
Do you understand that?
Public comment. I don't think anybody else is going to want to have that discussion tonight because it's been dicey. I think there needs to be parameters on it. If I'm sharing my opinion, I do think it needs to be structured and it needs to be held. Everyone needs to be held accountable. But I do not think it's fair that you have to put your items on the agenda a week before when there's obviously things that come up that we need to make exceptions for. So we need to discuss it. If you don't want to discuss it tonight, it needs to be discussed on the next meeting.
That's it.
How can we encourage effective government if we're not listening?
Because in the year of this administration, we've had people up here look and take 7.5 minutes and totally ignore. Stand there and say, I'm not done. A retired school teacher, and we have other people's challenge us too.
Because you weren't listening, and stop talking about me.
Nobody spoke about you.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, then it's about you. I didn't say you, you said you. Did you not speak for
People
7.5
aren't
minutes?
stupid.
Okay, then it's you. I didn't say it.
Your job
But
is to
either way, you
listen to
didn't
us.
listen and you didn't follow the rules. So this is why I have this agenda.
Well, 3 minutes isn't enough time to begin with.
Well, then you're admitting that you didn't follow the rules. This is
No,
why
I was
have
over.
rules.
I told you I wasn't finished.
I cannot believe that you were a school teacher. And you
No.
didn't follow the rules.
In the past, you praised me for it.
I didn't hear what was just said.
Let's move on.
You couldn't believe I was a
believe
school
that somebody
teacher.
like that would be.
You praised me for it at the very first time I stood up and spoke.
The first one you came up and apologized for being nasty to me. You put your hand on my arm and asked to go to coffee with me, and I says no.
No, I called you.
Okay,
I
no, you
called you,
stood
and
right
you
there.
never
Let's
called me
move on.
back.
The next one up Next one up, Rob Salvin. Can you please say your name and address for the record,
Robert
please?
Salvin, 1 Pine Court, Montgomery. I was on the agenda for talking about the sewer. It's this easy to switch it up when I talk about the campus. I was one of 3 village residents that attended the special budget meeting last week. I just want to make sure I don't misrepresent what anyone said during the camp budget discussion. Trustee Brianna, your position was that the camp was too expensive and should be cheaper to accommodate more campers. Trustee Noble, you said that it was just simple math. If it's 150 campers signed up, and if each signed up for a full day, it's $775, and the total came to $116,000. I don't understand why it's a wash if we're giving them $125 when they're only making $116. Deputy Mayor Randall said, you said that on registration day, the camp took in almost $130,000. Trustee Piccirillo asked, how is that mathematically possible? Trustee Oakland, you said, I don't understand the math. And Trustee Imbriani, you said, I don't understand the math either. Trustee Piccirillo, you then went on to say, while looking at your papers, quote, so pertaining to that budget line, the math of a max amount, Cynthia's right, if it's 150 campers at $775 for 6 weeks, it's $116,000. And you went on to refer to the $116,000 as the, quote, max attainable registration. Did I misrepresent what anything you just said?
No.
Is that accurate? Okay. Well, with respect, this puts on full display why none of you 3 belong anywhere in your budget, and puts on full display your collective financial illiteracy. You represented to the people, hold on.
Bullshit.
You ready? You represented to the people that the maximum attainable dollar amount from camper registration fees is $116,000, right? Right? Guess what? That's the minimum, not the maximum.
I know.
You know now. Now you know, but at the meeting you said 116 was the max. You all agree.
No, I'm correct.
It's the minimum, not the maximum amount collectible in a sold-out camp scenario. Just so you know, mathematically, the maximum possible revenue from the sold-out summer camp is $157,500. As for the camp being too expensive, the most a parent can pay is $5 an hour per child, and the least is $3.69 per hour per child. This amounts to a fraction of what any babysitter would cost without the activities and camaraderie provided at camp.
You had all this prepared even though you were going to discuss the sewer treatment plant?
Yeah, I did it today. The level of financial illiteracy is how businesses fail. The argument was something you 3 had planned, prepared for, and discussed, and had reference notes in front of you. If you 3 are as bad as what Trustee Nolan referred to as simple math, you should seriously consider whether the Board of Trustees is really a place for you, and if being there is in the best interest of the village of Montgomery. You 3 are on the wrong side of, quote, simple math, and you expect to be trusted with complex issues that involve engineering and construction, like a sewage plant project. Please, before you do more harm to this village than you've already done in your first 15 minutes in office, step down and make room for competent people to step up. None of you are cut out for this.
Your time is up. Thank you. All right, we have reports from the departments. Who wants to go first? Joanne, you're up first.
All right. So we had our defensive driving class on Saturday, which was completely sold out. So I'm thinking instead of doing it twice a year, we do either 3 or 4 times a year.
Oh, that's cool.
More of an opportunity. Mary and I have been talking. We're looking into maybe August, September. We're trying to figure out, or trying to schedule my schedule that we can do it. You know, we've gotten volunteering or something. Today we had our needle felt class. Never done it before. It was really cool. That was a big hit. So the instructor and I are setting up more classes, different classes, whether we do another needle felt or we were talking about the bird houses. They're actually really cool. So we were talking about that. Bingo size is still going on. I think we have 3 more weeks of that. That's kind of a big hit, so I'm hoping that we can get that going again. Thursday, sketching class starts. I only have a couple more spots left, so if anybody's still interested, call me. And one last thing, we have, our Memorial Day tree is up. And I've already had people put names of their loved ones in memory of. I have a stack of stars. If anybody's interested, let me know. I have markers, I have stars. And you're glad to let me down for the month.
And when we put the flags up?
They will go up the week before Memorial Day.
Very nice.
And we're excited, we are able to honor 14 new veterans this year.
Thank you.
So,
Very good, thank
I
you.
can't wait for them to come in.
That's cool.
I have questions about the reporting for the senior center and about the Hometown Heroes banner, but last time I asked any questions of the department head, I was accused of being aggressive and interrogating her, which was inappropriate, but then at the budget meeting last week, I was told I have to ask her those questions. So what are the parameters of the discussion and how do you want to do it? Hometown Heroes, the extra payments. So like, I'm getting questions about where the money goes to when the off years, when we're not replacing them or fixing them. Where does the $100 go to? Are we doing other events? And where does that money go to?
It goes to Community Foundation. I have now,
Right.
what was just paid will be paid for the banners. I need extra brackets, I need extra flags.
Okay.
It's all maintenance, so.
Maintenance,
And
okay.
anything
You're
that
not
gets
getting DPW to
broken,
put them on.
I actually had a truck take out somebody's banner, so I personally replaced that for them because.
I would like to look into some grants, and I would like to talk to Village of Walden and Maybrook about how they're running it, because they don't, they charge fees. Well, Village of Walden definitely does, but they don't charge additionally, they pay one time and
all
that's
year
it.
long,
Right,
or don't.
but if there's brackets or any other expenses, they're not charging veterans families for it. I would like to look into that in the future. Like, if they're, are they getting a grant, are they just absorbing the cost, what's happening?
I
For
can't
that.
absorb that kind of cost.
Right.
That's, it's
What are
pricey.
they doing that they're not collecting any additional money? Do you have any reports of how many people are coming to the classes and what's been the most successful versus, what probably was,
Yeah, that was already in class today.
Okay.
So
But any of them,
we had about 10 in that one.
10 at today's, but are you tracking how many people come consistently to each class? So
They all
know
sign in
which
the
ones
book.
to-
And the biggest class is material yoga.
They all sign in the book, is what you're saying. So that's the tracking, right, so we can just look at the book and track, okay. And what we received from the budget, was for $12,300. That was with the budget. Are there things that are missing that
I don't know, I
would
don't
be
have a
added?
budget to go by. I never had a budget to go by, so I don't know what they spent down here. So what was put on the budget was things that I put in there. I did have a surplus just in case something went over, but that got taken away, so.
Right, because the seniors are reporting, multiple seniors are reporting that you're saying that the budget's been cut, and then that's why we can't do things down there. When this is something that we
Well, I
just
did have
discussed.
$19,000 and I'm getting nothing from the town.
So
And
you're
now
saying
they want a town 10.
Okay. You're saying the town cut?
We're saying the town cut. She's
It's
not
not
saying,
even on
we're
the
saying.
The town is getting no money.
How much we were gonna get from the town this year, and he said yes.
I'm just trying to clarify what people are asking me. I can't answer them if I don't know what we're talking about. I'm not gonna presume to answer a question I don't know the answer to. I'm just asking for clarification. So we can look at the book and start tracking what classes are successful and what classes maybe don't need to be offered, or we need to
I'm not
market
taking classes
more.
away from
So we
You
can
never
market
did this
them.
before, ever. You never looked at it before. You are so not. You're not lying.
Please,
The liaison used to look
please,
at the
folks,
book.
please, the board is having,
Oh, the same
please.
liaison that would.
That's it.
I have.
Still have.
What happened to $134,000?
Next up,
We're spending it on.
please, everybody keep it down, okay.
Excuse me. Hopewell 6, we are very, very close to getting that approved to go online. Have a few more things to button up, then just gotta do submittal to the county, and they have to put their stamp on it saying it's good to go, we can start running it in the system. Preliminary testing that we've been doing in-house, it's great water, very good quality of water. So hopefully that will be online very soon.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Thank you. I called up one of the parents that's staying with at the bus stop, or grandparent, I think, if I wanted to know about 211 Union Street. And I called up DOT. He goes, take a look at 208. Take a look at 208. He told me, take a look at all those things. And
I'll tell you this.
He talked to me like a citizen, not as an employee, like a citizen. He goes, my neighborhood goes screwed up. He said, nothing's happening. When he started getting into politics with the governor, I didn't want to get into that. So, thank you for what you're trying to do.
I think all their money's upstate. When I went upstate, the throughway, tons of construction up there on roads. So, unfortunately.
Well, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And Joel, before you even start, thank you for you guys working with the sheriff's department like that. Lieutenant's a great guy, you're a great guy, everybody knows each other. And it's nice to see things have not changed and all the issues are getting out. All right, Joe, you're up.
So activity still where it has been, doing pulse curves, so again, people are calling us, which is good. Our guys are out there stopping cars. I just wanted to, I don't have too much today, I just want to thank you guys for a moment of silence for Officer Croce. Obviously, it's not easy losing an officer, but he's definitely working out to a lot of us there. And, he's going to be missed, and he's a great guy. And just, it's terrible that ending that way. On the upside, we do have 3 new babies in the department. So I'll just end it on that note, and that's all we got.
Thank you. You know something I have to ask, because I can't hear, so if you don't can't, go ahead. Nobody's
Do
cutting
you
you off.
have any paving schedule or any paving in the works? I have any questions about that, about the side streets, about the neighborhoods?
Probably not paving, but hopefully some sealing.
Okay. And if someone has an egregious pothole or something that's really a safety concern for them, they should reach out directly to you, correct?
Yes, or they can tell you and you can tell them that. Yes.
Okay.
If they call me directly, that's definitely the best.
Okay, but no paving schedule for this year?
Yeah,
Won't
not,
have to be
yeah, not
correct.
so much paving,
Okay.
just probably just some sealing.
You guys could have presented your budget at all, anything you have to say, or you already said it? You're already done with the budget? Anything else you guys got to say?
No.
All right, I'm just checking. Okay. All right. Board reports, meetings, everything. Any executive session at all? Anything here?
I have a couple of updates before we do anything else. Cindy, do you have anything? I don't really need to go first.
No, it was great to attend the Orange County Association of Town, Villages, and Cities. Delaware Engineering was there, speaking about the sewer projects that are going on in Harriman, and met a lot of contacts through the county and things like that, so that I can get more information on stuff that we're talking about, but that's all I have to report.
They are, you're right, they are good. They're definitely good. Some of them are just, they talk about nothing, but you're right.
It was really good, it was really neat, thank you for letting me know.
No, that's important. Tina and Debbie, even, Nancy, the contract, got a whole bunch of furniture, like $6,000-7,000 worth of donations by knowing somebody.
Yeah.
And just was a dinner. So, no, those are important.
Mostly is grant updates and truck and traffic updates. So there is a notorious mistime light, 17K to 11, that seems to be rectified right now, and the police are well aware of the issue, and it's been flagged every time. I did reach out to the police chief about it because people text and Facebook and call and all that. So they are well aware, and they've been very good about, if it's not fixed immediately, getting out and directing traffic if that's needed. In reference to the comments that were made by the gentleman at the last meeting about the speed limit coming into the village on 17K, and additional comments about Factory Street and 17K, I did reach out for an update from the county and to our Senator Robert Rawlston, and intend to push forward for some improvements. We do have an update on the comprehensive traffic study. I know that truck traffic is a huge issue and a huge concern for everybody. We've been beating this drum as residents for a very long time, and it's been a long and arduous process. I don't think it's going to be a magic fix, but there is some forward movement. For the county planner, the Montgomery area traffic study is a consultant-supported cooperative planning effort looking at 208, 17K, 211, 416, and Neely Town Road corridors. The town and village of Montgomery have undergone some serious development, including large-scale projects expected to bring a significant increase in travel demand. The purpose of this study is to assist the municipalities within the study area in balancing and managing future development, which is very important, growth and transportation needs along the corridor. The study will build on a prior corridor study conducted on 208 by the town, as well as other studies of the 17K corridor. The study assesses the feasibility of prohibiting truck traffic from traveling through the village of Montgomery and the potential impacts of this prohibition. The study will include a needs assessment of both existing and future transportation conditions and will make recommendations for transportation infrastructure improvements in order to meet the following objectives: improve safety along the corridor and critical intersections, improve traffic flow, making it easier to walk and bike along the corridor, recommending design concepts that improve the form and function of the roadway and critical intersections, and anticipate impacted travel patterns and needs. It's going to identify some costs incurred by this, and the latter would include specific short and long-term capital improvements that could be incorporated into long-range capital plans or assigned to various developers. In addition to public participation, stakeholder participants will include the DOT, the county, OCTC, member municipalities, and transit providers. So they're hoping to go out to RFP for this by August. So it is working. It is happening. The funding is in the budget. They're working on the procurement of the consultants, the public participation. It needs some more assessment, and it's approximately a 12 to 18 month schedule to complete the study. So there is an update. May not be what we want to hear, but it is being looked at. Everybody is aware of it. And
you texted me on that earlier today.
Yeah.
Brian Fitzpatrick's been on top of this and informing me. I wasn't even tell the public yet, but not all of that is true, but a lot of it is. Anyhow, it's just a matter of all the stuff getting together.
I mean, through the county planner that
we're
to
taking
share
care
with the
of it.
public, so they're aware and they know that we're working on it.
Yeah.
Also, we did confirm that we submitted a letter of interest for a pro-housing community, which is important and required to get additional grants. We have 2 documents that need to be submitted still. I did find them, so I'd like to submit them tomorrow, if that's okay with you, so we can go ahead and get the designation for the pro-housing community.
Well, how much is it going to cost the grant?
Nothing. It's so we can get grants. We have to be a designated pro-housing community, which we already meet the criteria of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm okay. If it doesn't cost anything, I'm okay. It's just these grants always have something attached to them. And it's $15,000, $20,000, and we don't have that. I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to cut you off. I think I got Weaver Street under control. That's pretty much dead. We're not spending any more money on that, and we're stopping the bleeding.
Okay. The Drinking Water Source Protection Program, which is the DWSP2, that's a statewide program where we make a plan for drinking water protection. Trustee Canaro had also started on that, and we're up to date on any submissions, but that will require some effort. I have all the information. I printed out from that, so I'm going to print it out and share it with everybody tomorrow.
They actually called the other day and Greg spoke to them and gave them some information on it.
Yeah, they said like today we're totally up to date on it, so I just printed out like what to share with everybody what it looks like and what the participation.
When's the deadline for submission on that?
I'm sorry?
When's the deadline for submission?
We already submitted what we needed to for that. It is working. I know you were very concerned about that. It's in the works.
It could, yes.
And then, yeah, and Millennium would like to have a meeting with the department heads and some village representatives because the CDBG, I know I've talked to you both about some items here, but one of the biggest things that is an approved funding request, our water and sewer. So that's a 50 cent on the dollar match for up to $5 million for one municipality, up to $10 million if we're doing multiple municipalities. So we have to submit a letter of interest only for that in the next month. So that is important. But they also named the WIA grant, the DEC has grants, and then leveraging the New York Forward, identifying the unmet needs, and then using the New York Forward funds to get more grants. They have a big strategy, and they would like to meet with the department heads and the village about that. And then there's a WQIP also for sewer. Yeah. So there is a lot of stuff available. You know, if we're going to talk about water and sewer, I'd like to make sure that we're looking at that. I did talk with them about addressing things that we need. I can't keep touting grants and talking about, you know, if we're not going to be really focused and looking at things that we qualify for, if we know we qualify for it, we have the information for the submit already, there's a strong possibility that we're going to get it. So I'm hoping that we can make some time next week to do if we qualify for it.
Yeah. That sounds good. There's a lot of competition, a lot of villages, towns.
Yeah. There's 20 to 30 new grants coming out because the Brown State funding comes out in about 2 weeks. So they want to kind of get the top 5 project priority list and then focus on those things. But the CDBG would be great. There's also an AED one. That's the last one I have to talk about. There's an AED rolling grant. There is no submission deadline for that, and it's a $1,300 grant for any additional AEDs that we need for any building. Okay, so
along those lines, that $6,100 rebate we got from Comp Alliance. Hopefully we got that. Okay. Thank you for something. Okay, anything else? Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.